Hey, it's Dave. Welcome to 2025. Okay, how many times have you written 2024 so far? Right? Yeah, me too. Many times. Welcome to Dad's Base. Glad to be with you. It's 2025. And I wanted to talk to you about the idea about having a pet in your home as a dad, as a family. My dog is barking at the mail carrier as we talk. So I'll leave that in there because I do have a dog. I have several, and a turtle and a cat and all that. So having pets in your home as a dad, benefits, disadvantages. How does a pet impact our family dynamic, and what does it mean to our kids and their development to have this creature in our home? So whether you're pet friendly or not, I want to challenge you to think about Paws, protection, and parenting, the unexpected benefits of family pets here on Dad's Space. Let's jump in. Now, I don't know if you've grown up in a home where pets have been something you've grown up with and you've had since you were a child. I think my earliest recollection of a pet, I was just like 1 or 2, and we had a big, long dog, a basset hound, and his name was Dino. So he's kind of like a stretched limousine version of a beagle. And Dino he had little tiny legs, and this long body and these ears that he would trip over. And I can see in family pictures and stuff, I don't remember Dino specifically when I was little, but he was one of my earliest pet memories that I can think of. And all through my life, we have always had a pet in our house growing up. And it seemed natural to me to have that and to be surrounded by animals in our home growing up. That just was like normal. We always had a pet. And we seemed to have overlapping pets. So when one pet was getting close to not being here anymore, we would have a new pet. And they'd kind of overlap each other. So we were always having pets in our home. And it's kind of been something that my wife and I have carried forward. She also has grown up in a home, my wife Jen, so with pets, so it's kind of been common for both of us. And it seems normal to me to have pets in the home. And then I met some other people who have kids, and they're the complete opposite of my wife Jen and I. They have zero interest in pets, like not in my house. And their kids were always nervous around our pets, even though our pets are harmless, cute, and lovable. They would just be like freaked out that there's this creature with 4 legs and a tail. What do I do with this? And you could see them just backing away, like, I don't know how to handle this. And to me, it just seemed odd that some families choose not to have pets in their home. So I thought, well, let's do an episode around having pets in your home. And maybe as a young parent, you're deciding whether to have a cat or a dog or a bird or a fish or a turtle, whatever you're going to have in your home, that you can make a good decision about, hey, what do we want our kids to grow up with? What do you want our kids to have memories of as they get older? So maybe the idea and the topic of having pets is going to come up. I remember when my wife and I first got married and we were setting up our first place together, our first apartment. It was interesting because we had to blend 2 worlds together. So if you walk into your kitchen right now and you want to get a drink of water and you go to the cupboard where the glasses are, what cupboard is it? Where is it in relation to the sink? Is it on the left of the sink? The right of the sink? Like, where are the glasses kept? What shelf does the milk go on in the fridge? Where do you put the eggs? How do you do ice in the freezer for your drinks? Where do the pots and pans go compared to the plates? When you look at the knives, forks, and spoons in the drawer, is there any kind of order to it, or is it just kind of random? Which drawer is the junk drawer? Okay, all of these things are programmed into us as kids growing up in our home, which we then carry forward into our relationships and into our new relationships and into our new homes. So I remember standing there with my wife, Jen, trying to decide to her, the cups are always on the right of the sink. To me, the cups are always on the left of the sink, or vice versa. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time. We had our own opinion of what is commonplace to put glasses in the cupboards. And we had to come up with a compromise because we can't both have it our own way because they were different ways. And what was normal to her was abnormal to me and vice versa. So we had to come to a compromise. What about pets? Maybe you're married to or getting married to someone who has never had pet in their home. They freak out at the idea of a dog and a cat or whatever. It's not common to them. It's abnormal to have a pet in the home. And for you, it is. It's like common sense. I always have a pet. So where's the common line that you're going to have to figure out as to whether we're a pet home or we're not a pet home? And whatever works for you is great. But I just wanted to talk about some of the benefits of having a pet and how a pet in your home can actually help shape the dynamics of your home, can shape the growth of your children as they go through life, having this other thing in the home that they can care for, and it can nurture them and give them strength. I know my youngest son battled through like grade 7, grade 8 with being bullied at school. And it got really rough with him. He got some pretty mean things happen to him. We had to call the police and on and on. And there were just some people who just picked on him and they would actually physically assault him. And he would come home beaten up, bruised, bloodied by these people. And trust me, I did what I could to make that stop. But the one thing he found comfort and solace in is at the time, we had this big German Shepherd that we had kind of adopted. The owner of the dog was put away for a long time, if you know what I mean, and wasn't able to see the dog. And we just basically had been taking care of the dog. So we just took the dog in. And his name is Duke, the dog. And he was just a beautiful, big, like police German Shepherd sized dog. Something very intimidating, like massive teeth, but a giant, gentle soul. And Duke and my youngest son, the two of them bonded in a way that I didn't anticipate, where my youngest son was being beaten up and hurt by people. Duke was his go-to refuge. It was his safe place to have this massive German Shepherd laying across his lap, comforting him and giving him security. And it was a benefit that I didn't anticipate would ever happen. And I never thought my son would be bullied, but it was a benefit that came to our family because of the sheer size of this animal. He was a huge, big boy. But he was so gentle with Sawyer, my son, and he protected him. And my son always felt bulletproof when this dog was around. And when we lost Duke a little while back, it really devastated my son. Even though he had moved out of the house and he's on with his new life, the connection and the bond he had with this animal was powerful and intense. And had we not had that pet, I don't know where my son would have landed with all of the things going on in his life. Because this dog represented to him safety, freedom, security, friendship, companionship. He didn't have to worry. He had this animal in his life. So I see some benefits for you and your family around having pets in your home. So I'm a big advocate of this. And I'm also a big advocate of rescuing animals. We have bought a purebred dog in the past and brought the dog home from the litter and you know, that was Jessie, our beagle. She was beautiful. I loved her. But yeah, she was a bred dog that we purchased. But I would say the majority, probably 99% of the pets we've ever had, have all come from our local Pound Humane Society shelter, and that's been our go-to place. For the majority of our animals have come from a rescued environment. One thing I'm doing in October of 2025 is I'm leveraging my Buy Me a Coffee option that's available on my website and all that, where people can donate to the show. I don't ask for money on the podcast, and I don't have commercials. But I want to do, specifically in October, I'm going to call it Barktober, B-A-R-K, Barktober. And what I want to do is raise enough money from listeners of all of my 8 different podcasts to then go to my local shelter and sponsor an adoption for a pet for someone else. So the dog will be, or the cat will be completely free. You won't have to pay for anything. It's already been prepaid by my listeners as a way to give life and give hope to an animal. It's really important to my wife and I. And if that resonates with you, then we're great friends just in that moment. So that's something I'm working on. So if you're interested in that, reach out. I'll let you know the details. But even $5 combined with a bunch of other donations can make this happen. So I think it was our last dog we just adopted a few weeks ago. Django is his name. We got him for about $600. So that's kind of what I have in my mind as a dollar amount for October. But that's kind of something I'm working to this year, is I want to take the podcast and do good in the world, even if it is to just sponsor the adoption of a pet. So if that resonates with you, again, I'd love to chat with you. So what are some of the benefits of having a pet in the home? I would say the first one is all around your children's and yourself for your mental health. One of the most beautiful things about pets in our lives is the unconditional love that they bring to our families. Pets can reduce your stress. They can reduce your anxiety. If you have teenagers battling through anxiety and depression, having this warm, loving, cuddling pet, cat, dog, whatever, climb up there beside you and sit with you, put their head on your lap, they just know. I don't understand how pets just know, but they just know when they need to either be calm in your presence. Maybe it's a senior in your home and they're fragile. Dogs, they just seem to know that I can't be rough and loud. I got to tone it down. They just know. And they know when we're not doing well. The little nudge that they give you when they kind of lift your arm with their nose. Again, the head on your lap. It's just, there's this built-in sensory thing that they have. And that's why they're so amazing to be trained for helping people as service dogs and support dogs and all of that, because they just have something built into them that is just naturally their go-to to be a support to us humans. So a pet can definitely reduce stress and anxiety in your home. They provide emotional support and comfort. They also help to ease separation anxiety when parents are away. They kind of just level out the temperature and tone of your house. And interacting with pets can actually boost your self-esteem and confidence in your children as well, as they live with and share space with these amazing pets. So if you're concerned about mental health of your children, for yourself as a dad, then maybe a pet is a good option. Maybe it is. And again, I would encourage you to go to your local shelter, Humane Society, Pound, whatever you call it, where you live, and find the home for these pets. That's one thing I really encourage. Another thing that a benefit for your children around having pets in your home is just security. Beyond the physical security of, somebody realizing that maybe they're scoping out your house and they're thinking about, doing something terrible to you and your family, just seeing a large dog or knowing that there's a dog in the house would be a deterrent for them to do anything to your family. Dogs can give protection and security, but they can also offer a calming presence and emotional security as well, helping your children just to feel more safe and secure within your home. And the sense of security is something that your kids will resonate with. You'll feel, again, the tone of your home will be relaxed and calm because there's this other alert in the house in case something happens. I know where I work, my wife and I work opposite shifts, and where I'm working, she's home alone or I'm home alone. And when you're home alone, having this other set of ears and eyes who alert you to somebody at the door, someone's in your driveway, someone's in your yard, there's something off. That's the one thing that I've noticed is just having this other pet in the home gives me and my wife security when our partners aren't home with us and we're alone in the house. So that's another great part of security. What I love too is pets are a great indicator of the people we meet in life. You go for a walk with your dog, you're out in public with your pet, and somebody walks up to you and your pet, your dog, and your dog backs away from that person for some reason. It could be just that they're wearing a hat, and the dog has always had bad experiences with men wearing a hat, for example. That could be as simple as that. But it could be that there's something about that person, their temperament, how they're presenting themselves, that's a little off. And in that moment, that person should not be around your children. Maybe that person should not be around you. Maybe there's some security issues here. These dogs are super smart. And when I see a dog's tail drop between their legs and they back away or they get low or they growl, for me, that's an indicator that maybe this is not a good time and I need to move on to someone else. So dogs are this amazing way of just finding out if you're safe in the moment with the person in front of you. Your dog can be a great indicator of intent, personality, danger. Something is off, and your dog is a great way to bring that to your attention. So don't ignore that. A benefit for your kids is simply the security of having this animal in your life. Another benefit for your kids, your home, for having a pet, comes to the whole idea of responsibility. Being responsible for and caring for something else is a great way for your kids to learn some valuable lessons growing up. The idea that they need to think about more than themselves, to take their dog for a walk, to put the dog outside, to clean up after the dog, to feed the dog, to bathe the dog, to brush the dog, to play with the dog, to acknowledge the dog. All of these things are great things for your kids to learn as they're growing up. Because the one thing our kids need to know, whether you have a pet in your home or not, is that they are not the center of the world. They might be the center of your world, but the world in general doesn't really care much about anybody. And it's kind of a all for yourself type thing. So if your kids grow up in a world where everything they need and everything they want is given to them, and they have no idea what it's like to care for somebody else, they don't even care for themselves, then that's a hard lesson to learn as an adult. When you are not treated well by your employer, by life, by situations, and it's never happened before. The idea of caring for something else other than yourself, I think, helps you to become a better person. That's why we do relationships. That's why we do community. We're better together than we are all by ourselves. And caring for a pet teaches your children important life skills, like responsibility, also teaches them empathy, right? To care. And children can learn to be accountable for just general tasks, feeding, cleaning, exercising, all of that. The idea of being taught what it means to be a responsible human being can come as a result of having a pet in your home. There's also some really great health benefits to your kids because you have a pet in your home. Pets can actually improve your child's immune system, potentially reducing the frequency of mild illnesses. I've had asthma since I was about 7 or 8 years of age. And back then, in the old days, nobody knew what asthma was. I was given cough medicine and cough drops, but I couldn't breathe. It was like an elephant standing on my chest. But here's a cough drop. And that was all we knew at that time. And it was really scary to not be able to breathe. But when I was around my pets, no problem. Because I had this built up immunity and tolerance because I'm with them all the time. I was never allergic to my own pets. I was allergic to some other dogs or big dogs that are sloppy dogs and breathe in your face and you melt your face because their breath is so hot and you're like, ugh. That would kick my asthma into full gear and I'd have to go for my medicine and my rescue inhaler. But there's a benefit to having pets in your home, just improving your children's overall immune system. If you, and I know we're getting into some medical stuff and I'm not a doctor by any means, but if you remove all of the things that could possibly make you sick, or have an allergic reaction, then your children's immune system doesn't seem to generate and get stronger. And it can potentially reduce the frequency of your mild illnesses just by simply having a pet in the home. It also encourages your kids to have more physical activity. Put the phone down, shut off the gaming system, and play with the pet. Take the pet for a walk. This regular physical activity is something that's a huge benefit for you and for your kids. So if you want less screen time, get a pet. Get your kids to learn how to take care of this thing. And also just simply interacting with pets can lower your blood pressure and reduce your stress levels. There's a lot of benefits to having a pet in your home. And if you're still kind of back and forth, I don't know if I want this, I just want you to think about the memories, the pictures, the stories, the love that a pet brings into your home. I can tell you that my kids have always had pets, and their stories go on and on and on. And their connection with these pets, long after they've left us, the stories are still there. So enjoy some health benefits by simply having a pet in your home. So there's some general family benefits as well for having pets in your home. Let's go through these as well. Pets provide companionship and they help reduce feelings of loneliness. They fill the gap. They can improve social interactions and help family members meet new people. Owning a pet can lead to increased physical activity for the entire family. Pets can add structure and routine to your daily life. So if you're really struggling in that side of your life, a pet might be the perfect way to get you back on track. They offer unconditional love and support, improving overall mental wellness and well-being. Pets have huge upside. With all of the things that it takes to have a pet, there's a huge upside to having pets in your life and with your family. There are some potential downsides just to consider as well. So if you're listening to this going, oh, my partner's going to hear this and go, see, I told you we need a pet. And I'm like, well, I got some worries. And these are some of the worries. So let's include this as well. So what are some of the potential downsides of having a pet in your home? Well, the benefits are numerous. And to me personally, I think outweigh any downside of having a pet. But we need to be aware of some potential challenges. Pets do require time, attention, and financial commitment for food, medical care, and supplies. That's a given. This is not just a toy or a rechargeable thing that you plug in the wall at the end of the night. These pets require a lot, and your commitment to them will keep them from the shelter in the future. When pet owners go and then surrender their pets back to the Humane Society or pound or shelter, it's a sad day for that pet. It's a sad day for the shelter. And it's not a good feeling. One of the things that was on the application when we got our recent pet from the Humane Society was, have you ever brought back a pet to the shelter that you had purchased? Yes or no? And why or why not? So I'm like, wow, the fact that that's even on the application, right? They don't want this pet to come back. There's a bond that happens when you bring a shelter animal into your home, right? There's safety, security, a new family. There's all kinds of changes happening. And the idea of bringing them back, it's heartbreaking. I know the pet that we have was surrendered to the shelter due to some mental health issues, and the person couldn't care for themselves and the pet at the same time. And our dog is 4 years old. The the decision to even surrender a pet after 4 years in your life, there's history there. There's a story there. And the sad look on this pet's face, this dog had nothing to do with why it was in this shelter. Nothing at all. And when we came in and we walked through, I wanted to get every dog. That's my heart. But we looked at this dog, at Django, and went, oh, he's looking at us like, can I go now? Like, well, why am I here? Where's my owner? Where's my master? Where's my person? Why am I in this cage? And it broke our heart. We're like, oh, we're taking him. And I want to take them all, but we'll take him for now. And that's kind of why this is so important to me. But there's a lot of things you need to consider before you go out and get a pet. Please make sure you understand how expensive they can be. Vet bills, food, all of the training, all of this stuff costs money. And if you're not prepared for it, the idea of you taking a pet to the shelter because you can't afford it or you didn't plan for this pet properly is a sad, sad day. So please do your time and investments before you make any heart-based decision on adopting or purchasing or whatever a pet. Also, some family members may have allergies to certain animals, like I mentioned for myself. You need to make sure that this is something that's been addressed and you know of this before you, again, follow your heart and adopt a pet. You don't want to put anybody into a bad situation. Asthma for me, whatever, allergies, skin allergies, itchy, something could happen. Make sure you know that up front. Pets can also sometimes cause property damage. So if you're renting an apartment or a house, you don't have a yard, and you lock your dog up all day while you're at work, something might happen. My dog, my newest, Django, ate one of my microphones that I had for podcasting. It's just a little one that I never even really got to use. And I was just going to play with it and try it out. But yeah, he just destroyed it. So they can damage personal property. They can damage your home. And if you don't own your home, just be careful. And there's also some restrictions on pet ownership depending on where you're living. Please, if you have an apartment and you're on the 10th story of a building, don't get a big dog that needs to go out 3 times a day, 4 times a day, needs grass. That's not fair. Okay? Like, think about that. I think the downsides of having a pet are way less than the advantage and upsides of having a pet. So overall, I would say the benefits of having a pet in your home often are something that you will find more value in than not having a pet. Okay? Providing valuable experiences and positive impacts for your family life and the development of your children, there's a huge win for these pets in your home. So maybe it's a conversation you need to have with your partner. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have with your children. But if you've ever been on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, and you see those new pets being given as gifts, my word of caution is, this is a life. It's not a PlayStation 5. This is a life. And as much as we love to give pets as gifts, we need to understand that this is a gift that does not get returned. This is something that can change your family. And when pets act out, when pets do something out of character, it's most likely not because of them. It's probably because of you. Lack of walking the dog, lack of training the dog, lack of attention, leaving them alone for long periods of time, that's on you. So the success of your pet in your home comes down to you, your partner, your children, the environment. That's how we keep pets out of a shelter. And my encouragement for you as we go into 2025, if the idea of having a pet in your home is something you've been thinking about, then if you're not sure, maybe ask one of your friends or family that have a dog or cat if you can come over and let your kids play with the dog or cat. Maybe be somebody who watches other people's dogs when they go on holidays. I'm always looking for somebody to watch our pets. So maybe that's you. You're like, I don't have a pet. I'm thinking about it, but I'll open my home and I'll watch my friends' pets for them as they travel. Sure, I'd love to do that. So there's some options here as you find what works best for you and your family. But the idea, again, about making sure your kids aren't allergic to these pets, making sure these pets are safe and secure, and putting love into them as they return that love 10 times to you. I think a pet's a great option for you in your home in 2025. I'd love to hear your pet story. Tell me about your dog. Maybe your dog is new to your home. Maybe your dog has passed. I would love to hear your dog story as well as your dad's story over at dadspace.ca. There's a speak pipe thing. Leave me a message. Tell me about your pets. I'd love to hear what's going on in your home. And I'd love to carry on the conversation as well. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or you just want to talk to another dad, dadspace.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the podcast. 2025 is going to be a great year as we talk more things dad, more great guests, authors, speakers, people that have great tools and resources for you as a dad. And I'd love for you to share this podcast with one other dad in your circle. I'd love to be able to help them just as much as I'm helping you and as much as you're helping me through this podcast. Thanks for being here. Happy 2025. Hey, thanks for listening to Dad Space. Thanks for hanging out to the end of the podcast. That's a great sign to wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, fill in the blank, that this was a good podcast to send people to. So simply by listening to this point of the podcast, you're helping the show grow. So good on you. Thanks for helping us grow Dad Space. If you want to help us fill our cups over at Dad Space, head over to dadspace.ca. Dadspace.ca, simple website, right? Dadspace.ca. You can fill up our coffee cup, which helps us then to keep moving forward with the podcast and use our Buy Me a Coffee link over at dadspace.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for sharing. Because the more dads we can help, the better. We're all here to help each other grow in community. That's what it's all about. And without you, the podcast is pointless. There's no reason to do any of this. So you being here means everything. See you at dadspace.ca. Take care.